Let's get this connected here. Come on. Get my little fan going. Where's this mouse? You can have the computer. We had something cool that I came across today. I don't care what's new in Chrome. It's one of those cases that you're looking for A and you find Q. A classic case of that. Looking for A and you find Q. And I'll leave it on that screen until if the interested parties come in today. You guys know who you are. All right, let's do a little bit of moving things out of the way here. This has gotten out of control. It doesn't take long for it to get out of control, but it got out of control. Okay, so this morning we got these 3 guys completed, and we started working on this next guy. Guy that's tossing a grenade. And I realized that I have more Americans with trench coats on them. Overcoats. Overcoats really is what they should be called, not trench coats. Trench coats makes it sound like they're like rubbery or leather or something like that. Not these guys. This is just wool. And I've got some other guys that are not very good. These are nice figures, but the other guys I have are not very good at all. They're Platoon 20, a company called Platoon 20, and now they're now available by a company called East Front or Eastern Front Miniatures. I think it's East Front Miniatures. They have all kinds of stuff on there. They also have those Platoon 20 figures that they're kind of basic looking by today's standards for sure. They got big heads. A couple of them have features almost remind you of like a chipmunk. Big old round head. I think they'll paint up okay. But so this is where we left off with this guy. We had finished his Garand. We'd finished his wool overcoat. It's time to do some pants and does he have a helmet strap on? I think he's got the helmet. I think he's got the helmet strap on. No, he has it flipped over the edge there of the helmet. Guess they like to do that. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and do his gear. Where is the black at? Nope, I already used that side. I'm going through these things like it's going out of style. what are we painting? We're painting relatively thin things. This is the super good one. This is the one that used to be the super good one. Because all these brushes have a lifespan. I can get all the paint out, but I can't remake the tips. They're always going to have like this 90-degree turn in them. It happens to all of them. So that's why I don't buy expensive brushes. Actually, if I wanted to buy expensive brushes up a creek, there's nowhere to get them. Ooh, there goes a badass. The neighborhood badass. All right, where is that green gray here? All right, I guess I'll have to put the glasses on so I can find myself. Nope, 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 there it is. All right. And we're going to do the equipment here. Painting his bat belt. It's just had a sneezing attack just before I went online. Just came out of nowhere and bloody pollen season. These figures aren't bad at all by any stretch of the imagination. They're just figures that most people discount just because they're plastic. Like, oh, plastic figures, they aren't any good. And while there are many plastic figures that aren't very good, this certainly isn't one of them. This certainly isn't any of them. Any of these. Okay, this is the strap to the big bandolier. All right. Man, just trying to figure out what exactly is on this figure is a little challenging. He's got, let me grab my book and find out that satchel that he has slung on his back, exactly what it has. It's kind of a elongated satchel. Let's see, looking through our World War II GI and color pictures. Let's see if we can come across something that looks like that, the right thing here. This used to be the gold standard before there was the internet. Okay, it kind of looks like this. Kind of looks like one of these. But that's a carrier for a field telephone, so that's probably not what he has. Here's another field telephone. Field telephone carrier, anyways. I may not find it, in which case I'll just have to make an executive decision. Oh! No. I don't think he's a medic, so. Yeah, here's the bandolier that he has, and it's almost like this yellowish cloth. Note the details of the 6-pocket cotton ammunition bandolier. Yeah, it's like a little bit of a yellowish. Alright, what does this guy have? This guy's got something else that's slung on him. The straps of it is just a regular webbing color. This cartridge belt is in green shape, all drive used for webbing from 1943. Below left, M2A1 training gas mask with the filter canister attached directly to the face. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do that bag in the same color that the bandolier is. So we have a little bit of variance in colors. It's not like it's super dramatic. That's what we're going to go with. Something has a little bit of yellow to it, so. We're going to use, of green brown for that. Which actually I believe is one of the Africa core colors, now that I think about it. RAL 8000, yeah, this is an Africa core color. A suggested Africa core color, let's put it that way. I don't know my RAL numbers. I don't care. Alright, so this is going to come across here. And then that strap when I was doing 15 millimeter figures, sometimes they'd give you like a strap and there'd be nothing would be behind it. It wouldn't have any, it'd just disappear. And you have to continue painting it because otherwise it's just like a floating strap there in the middle of nowhere. Wouldn't make any sense. Even Zyston, Old Glory, used to do stuff like that. Give you this strap that was on the back, and then when it came up to the front, it didn't have it. Okay, in his bag, comes up this side. Okay, I think we're good. Now we can brighten this up. Yeah, mine ended up being a slow night. Oh well, we'll do this for a little bit, and if I get bored, we'll leave some for tomorrow. We don't have a certain time frame we have to get this done by. I'll have to try that idea that I had with some of the American tanks, just cutting out the circle out of their symbols. I have too many stars that have either a circle around them or the broken circle, which I prefer how they look, but most American tanks didn't have those. They'd have them, in some place like on the front of the glacis or something like that, but usually everywhere else they had just the standard stars. So I don't have enough of those, and I have a lot of the circle ones sitting around. So okay, I don't think I'm going to lighten this up any. I'm not going to add any more of the core color. I think we're just going to add a little bit of white. Okay, and the strap that's actually underneath that is the green webbing. Interestingly enough, I'm glad I looked that up. I've been picking all the wrong colors. Well, as long as I don't find out about it later, I'm good. All right, that's what we're going to do. And then we'll move back to the green. We kill this coffee. Only 2 viewers. I should go back to filming on the computer if all I'm going to do is get 2 viewers. At least it'll be better resolution. I'll still have the phone to surf with. I got the computer fired up. I got this really interesting thing I came across, but if my tank nerds aren't on here, I just end up having to repeat myself later. My tank nerds, yeah, I'm one of them. This guy's got a lot of equipment, actually. All right. Now what we got to do is what I thought was a strap, and it isn't. Where's this parasite brown? Man, I miss painting horses a little bit. I went from never painting a horse to painting a shitload of them. And got pretty happy with how they were turning out. And I hope this stuff is durable. That's my only fear with these plastic figures. They certainly look good. They certainly look good enough to paint. And a lot of them have quite a bit of personality. I just hope they have some longevity. It'd be a shame to go through all this effort and make these guys look good, and then one little bend and the stuff all flakes off. All right, it's time to mix up the fleshy bits. Meathead looking dude. He's one of those guys that's got a big ass head. Meathead. The Meathead would be on the opposite spectrum of Nerd Burglar. A meat-headed Nerd Burglar. The Japanese have a bunch of Nerd Burglar looking dudes. The sculpture looked that way. Just thinking, is there a lot of collaborative effort in what do you call this? YouTube? I don't think there is. I mean, I know that there's some, but kind of like one guy has a channel and then somebody else he goes and talks on somebody else's channel, kind of thing. You know, kind of like jazz musicians that they all, you know, you'll find them that they're recording stuff for other folks. You know, it's not like this antagonistical relationship where it's like, well, I'm not going to come over and promote your stuff because you're not going to promote mine, kind of thing. I know there's some, but man, just my audience is all over the world. Just like everything else, it might be, you might be in a state and there's nobody who does what you do. Got a big old thumb there. Big old mountain man thumb. This is a ham-fisted looking dude if I've ever seen one. Yeah. All right. We're going to need to downsize at this point. Yeah, I keep saying that wargaming is a really cheap hobby. It is. Like, if you're those guys that do the reenactment, like that Sean video, you know, just being a regular, Joe. He wanted to play some infantryman. You know, you got to buy a rifle. You got to buy a Garand, and you get a crappy one. I guess you get one that doesn't work. Nobody would know the difference. You show up at a reenactment with a rifle that doesn't work. What do you do the whole time? You pretend to get shot and just lay on the ground, or pretend you got it jammed. But those will set you back about $1,000. $1,000 for a Garand. There was a company that was remanufacturing them or something like that. That's a lot more expensive than buying little miniatures. Let's add a little bit of white to this. Trutark, nothing's cheap these days. Welcome back, man. I'm glad somebody came by. Appreciate you, man. I hadn't seen you in a few days. What is it that you do again? I don't mean for a living. I mean, why the hell are you on here? What I mean is, what do you do? Do you do Flames of War? Do you do 28 mil? bolt action. I don't remember anymore. I mean, ultimately, it doesn't really matter, but been busy towing people. I'm coming to get your car. No, I just sent the payment in last time. Yeah, I've heard that a million times. It got lost in the mail. Yeah, you've heard it all. You've heard all those sob stories and no credit sob stories. You do more micro armor mostly. That's what I started with. GHQ micro armor. Playing command decision with it. The problem with micro armor is that the infantry is just, on that scale, the infantry rules just are very lackluster. So it all focuses around tanks. Almost as much as playing World of Tanks. There is infantry, but we need to get a scenario up here that really shows off the disparity between tank. I don't know what kind of a demented face this guy has, but he's definitely survived a blast of some sort. The Elephant Man. Got hit by some crazy woman when towing off her car. She refused to pay. Refused to pay for. I do repo work too. Infantry are somewhat useless in micro armor games mostly. Well, the thing is that if you take, you're never playing in scale. You're playing condensed, which makes it even worse. I mean, if you're playing in actual scale of the vehicle, at least the infantry could be, they might be able to fire like, I don't know, 6 inches away, a foot away, something like that, effectively. But if it's condensed at all, like the game I played, infantry could only fire like 2 inches away. Like, they're on top of each other. Like the stands are on top of each other. And the problem is that there's a lot of terrain that would be really hazardous to tanks. And no matter how much terrain density you end up putting in those games, it always seems like the tanks have plenty of maneuver space. And I fucking hate this guy's face. it's terrible. It's terrible. We gotta start off at square zero. Oh well. Yeah, I'm allowed to make one mistake once in a while. Guess what asshole has to fix it? That's why I paint really thin. So. But I was surfing around. I guess you'll do. And what I mean by you'll do is I needed some tank nerd to show up. I think you're tank nerdy enough. And when I get into this, you'll see what I mean. Oh my gosh. Looks like somebody just threw up a bunch of refried beans on this guy's face. Wait for that to dry a little bit. I was searching around. There's this company that I have bought some decals from called District Miniatures. And this one guy I subscribed to just did a video on, I guess they sent him a bunch of decals or something like that. And he was doing a review of them. And I decided to check their website out, and they've added a lot of different things to it. They do it in a bunch of different scales. 28, 20s, 15s, modern, World War II kind of stuff. I noticed they added a bunch of things that they didn't have there last time, including tank numbers. Like the tank numbers on the Shermans that, usually start with like a 3, like an 8-digit number. It says USA on it, and it says, 308747. All right, so they have a set of decals that's just the numbers. So I'm like, well, I just can't put them on a tank because You know, that might be a number that's for a Stuart. That might be a number that's for a tank destroyer. You know, something like that. So I decided to do like I used my Google Foo and went and did a search for like USA tank numbers, and I came across this link, this article that's in this webpage called U.S. 7th Armored Division Association. And let me see if I can find it again. And like I said, I was looking for A and I found Q. And Q is really freaking interesting. So if you click on tank names, there is a list here. This is a low priority project to collect all the tank numbers that I come across doing research on the U.S. 7th Armored Division. Now, I'm not particular to them being any particular armored division. Thus, the majority of the tanks listed here will be tanks of the 7th Armored. Any other tanks that are included will be appear only because they appear in records relating to 7th Armored Division. I am definitely not going to seek out records of all tanks in World War II, which is far too numerous a task for my resources. So, and he has a caveat. Since many of these records are from destroyed tanks, it was frequently the case that parts of the numbers or other information were lost. So if you're looking for a specific tank number, do not assume if it is not in sequential position where the whole number would be that it is not on the list. I looked for the list of numbers that are one digit short. Look for the list of numbers that start with X, which I have used to denote specific missing digits. Also be aware that some tanks have been giving suffix letters for some reason. So also look for the number after the normal 7-digit tank numbers. Tank destroyer numbers start with 4 and are after all tank entries, including those with no numbers. Okay, so anyway, so he has this, there's this list of several vehicles here. Let me flip this around. Is it reversed? No, this one's not reversed. Okay, so when I shoot it this way, it's not reversed. The problem is I can't see the screen unless I'm behind it. So it doesn't really work for painting. So here's a list of tanks that are listed here. And what became interesting is he's got nicknames for some of these tanks. So, for example, here is USA Tank 339520. So the 7th Armored Division and its Charger. Comments, probably C-17. So that's the name of the tank. C Company 17th Tank. With one digit lost, either Charger or Carouse. Was probably the 17C-11 tank, in which Barris, gunner, and Kimmons, the cannoneer, were killed on October 4th, 1944, with survivors Lieutenant William Binders, the commander, Technician 4 Albert H. Litchford, the driver, and Private First Class Donald H. Cox, must have been the bow gunner. And here it says what the source is from. So anyways, I'm just at a glance here, I was looking at what are the names of some of these tanks. So for instance, here's one. I guess 31 is like the armored regiment. I'm guessing. I'm not really familiar with 7th Armored Division. That should be pretty easy to find out. 7th Armored Division, 31 A23. So if it had numbers and letters on it, it would be, that's what it would be on the tank. So it'd be A Company. And that one was called After Hitler. So that was the nickname of the tank that'd be painted on the side of the tank. After Hitler. That kind of stuff is just really hard to find. Here's an HQ vehicle. They normally didn't follow the pattern of A for A Company, B for B Company, C for C Company, that kind of stuff. And that was called Paper Doll. Of course, it doesn't tell me what kind of a tank it is. I could probably cross-reference it with something else and find out what kind of a Sherman that is. That would be interesting to do if I have the sources for that. B6 is Bulldog. B7 is Boomerang. Of course, these are all knocked out tanks, and they're only knocked out tanks in the 7th Armored Division that this guy ended up finding information on. C13 is named Cookie. A5, Able Abe. Here's one, B4, Wasn't visible what the nickname of it was in the picture. Cookie the tank, exactly. Um, Here's, no information, no information on a nickname, no information on a nickname. Here's an HQ vehicle named Tiger Ann 2. I don't know about you, but if I'm in a tank and it gets knocked out and I have to bail out of it, I'm not naming it the same thing again. B11's Big Boy 2. C3 is not visible. E8, so E Company, tank number 8, is named Empress Jin the Fourth. I guess they really like that gin. They went knocked out 3 vehicles. Well, technically, a 4th one got knocked out. Otherwise, it wouldn't be in this report. Not visible. No clues. Carouse. That's a shame. That's all I got. So, Cookie. Yeah, Cookie doesn't seem like it'd be. There's gotta be like a whole host of things on here. So, again, I don't necessarily want that information to copy other tanks. I want it to come up with my own names in the same spirit of, like for instance, if you come across it, oh, all the tank names are silly. Okay, well then name your tank a silly name that conforms with, the parameters that we have there. All right, I got to use a little boy's room. I'll be right back. Okay, let's see if we can give this guy another shot with his face here, because I didn't do a very good job. I could have done a better job. Cool guy Spike, what's up, man? Let's go to war. Yeah, simulated war. I'm not sure what's going on with him. Maybe he's got something over his ears. Maybe that's what it is. He's got like a. Let's try that. Let's try like he's got some like a covering on his head. I think that's what it is. I was painting it like it's. He's got like these jowls. It just doesn't go well with the what's going on here. All right, let's try that. Just trying to make out what this guy's even equipped with. All right, now we'll paint his face. This is the good one, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Crap. Dried out on me. Well, if you have a cookie, like I said, you have a named cookie. You could have one named Candy Bar. I think candy bars already existed in the 1940s, right? Yeah, they had them in Hershey's. Yeah, the U.S. soldiers had Hershey bars. Used those to bribe the population and stuff. Cokes too, I think. Living large. Let's see. Let's see if we can improve this. Yeah, that's better. That's better. The face will make or break it. Yep. Yeah, we need the people that make weapons to go back and make refrigerators. That would happen. Westinghouse and everybody was. They're like, hey, we need more war so we can sell more of this war equipment. So yeah, if you got cookie, you could have candy bar, right? You have a tank named Candy Bar. After Hitler, I could have after Adolf. And it's funny because you look at a lot of the stuff that's like in the period, when every time they type Adolf, it's PH. Like the Americans would type a PH. Okay, that's much better. Yeah, I pride myself on making good faces, so. And I could see something was there. Yeah, something like that. Let's do his green ass helmet. Which U.S. olive drab. How original. Yeah, if I get this guy painted tonight, I'll be happy, and move forward with another one. Because this weekend we're going to experiment with some snow terrain. Try to make a snow mat. See if that's within my skill set with the airbrush. I'm willing to give it a shot now. I feel like I've made all my major mistakes with airbrush by now. Any mistakes I make now aren't major. Now you just build up self-confidence. You can do a little trolling with naming an entire platoon after candy and called it the Candy Ass Platoon. There you go. Now you're thinking. So, true story. About 10 years ago, I was I was brainstorming at one point, and I think it was I was surfing around figures or something like that. I came across this one manufacturer. I couldn't even tell you who it is, but they make this. There was this imagination campaign that this one guy created that was so popular. It was so popular that one of this manufacturers of miniatures actually made like a set for it. And it's this, you could look it up. It's called Bongolesia. And this guy used to have a Facebook page. I don't know if he still does, basically giving updates with these fake news channels and reports. And, like it was this ongoing conflict and this made up imagination nation in modern Africa. Modern, like, from like the 60s until now. And all these different factions and stuff like that. And I started brainstorming. And I'm like, man, it'd be fun to do. You could really come up with some crazy ass stuff. So I got some modern African figures. I haven't painted very many of them. I came up with my own factions and all that kind of stuff. And it's all ridiculous tongue in cheek, way over the top thing. I got my UN, which is, I don't know if you were on here last night. That I showed this. Well, it's backwards right now, but it's moron. Multinational organization of regional observers and negotiators. So, you've got, I did all the brainstorming for all this stuff and got pretty involved in it. It just ended up being too big of a task. But all in the same scale of this. So there's a few things that you could port back and forth, but I have these child soldiers, and they make miniatures for them, and I have, I don't know, 7 or 8 of them, whatever, and they come out of a school bus, and I'm going to call them the serial killers, because one of them's Cheerio, one's Frosted Flake, so that they'll be something that would be dressed appropriate to that. But that's yeah, you reminded me of that. Lucky Charms, that's what his nickname would be, Lucky Charms, because they didn't use their real names and stuff like that. Schultz, we got another company of Panzer to the candy asses. Yep. Candy ass troopers. So yeah, it reminded me of that. Yeah, and I started a blog page for it and everything, and that was fun to add to it. But it's just too big an ask. There's a lot of stuff to do. I'm more likely to do that than get back into Ancients, though. 'Cause I just don't want to get into something that's like, well, this is how you have to play, and it doesn't make sense to. It doesn't make sense, but that's the rules, and I'm not doing that shit anymore. That's why I said, yeah, I'm not doing Gaslands either, because it's just too big of an ask. Like, you're doing all the playtesting for somebody else's rules that left loopholes because they were in a hurry to market them to sell them. Like, that's just not my thing, Used to do a lot of troll names back in the day when playing Quake and Tribes. I don't know about Tribes at all. I never heard of Tribes. Quake, I never liked Quake, and I was a Doom fan, big time, but I never liked Quake. Didn't like the way it looked. Right, because it was Wolfenstein, then it was Doom, then those same people did Quake. I don't know what they did after that, but I never cared for Quake. But it was really popular. Now there's a million choices. Going back to Ancients, I highly recommend Age of Hannibal. It's too limited. And I saw a playthrough for it. It didn't impress me. I've got what's that one? What's the Italian one? Impetus. I've got the Impetus. I bought the rules and printed all hundreds of pages. I don't think I'm going to be going. If I go back to it, it won't be anytime soon. It'll be on my own terms. Like I don't want it to be like, okay, we have this problem and that's what's in the rules and that's just how we have to play them. And I'm not dying to paint any of that stuff. I'm not dying to paint ancients or medievals or been there, done that, did it for 18 years straight. Time to do something a little different. You can't find articles on tank names when you're doing ancients. It's just like, well, we don't know much about these guys. And then next year, we still don't know much about these guys. I'm like, man, we're not getting anywhere. Where is my metal color? I don't see it there. Here it is, Iron Warriors. Quake was the only game I had to support LAN back then. I feel old now. Well, I'm older than you are. I remember LAN. I remember when you used to play Diablo 1 on 2 computers. And I'm fine with having played that stuff back then, but I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm on a retro game. I'm like, sorry, I already did time doing that stuff. I don't need to play things on the Atari 2600 again. For starters, that's why I never understood like Minecraft. Like, man, it's all like blurry and shit. Looks like I don't have my glasses on. Like, yeah, we had graphics like that back when Doom was around. They're kicking it like it's 1992. No thanks. All right, we got leggings to do. It's really what those things should be called, but I can never remember what the hell they're called. They're not puttees, they're something or others. The coverings for the boot. Why don't you just give the guys taller boots, man? So like, oh, we'll have to have another article of clothing. My very first real-time strategy was Command and Conquer. Yeah, baby. Had a great soundtrack. Dun 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 dun. Yep. Great soundtrack. Had little, if you played the good guys, had little Hummers driving around. I mean, I wouldn't play that shit now, but I listened to it a couple of years ago. Like, man, that soundtrack kicks ass. I only played the first one though. I know there's like a million of them, Red Alert and all kinds of stuff. I just played the original one. Act on instinct. Yeah, the good guys says GDI good guys. Well, one side was definitely like the Pact guys. I don't know about you, man. Warsaw Pact shit ain't the good guys. I mean, the good guys may be corrupt. I don't remember. What was the name of that leader? Seth or something like that. That's all I remember. I guess that's all I got. The one guy that had like these T-62 looking tanks or something like that. Yeah, that was the first RTS. You had that little gobbler, and he went and he gobbled one material, whatever the mining stuff was from the planet, and then you got stuff like Warcraft, like oh we have wood and rocks and whatever. There was like four elements, you know. Brotherhood of Nod. Cain with a bald head. GDI, I don't remember, yeah. That was one of those save hells. Like you're trying to play some game, and it's like, all right, don't take any casualties, and you have to do this. Okay, save, move a little bit, save, move a little bit, save. Just like I don't mind things being challenging, but I don't like banging my head into the door. Like, nope, you didn't do it again. We want you to do it exactly how in this certain way. I'm like I don't like those kind of games where it's like, okay, you have to stay out of sight. All right. Well, what happens when things go wrong? Oh well, the game's over. If you get alerted, the game's over. I'm like, son of a bitch. I'm not playing the whole damn level again. What was that? Splinter Cell, right? So you got a guy. You go behind enemy lines. They give you one M9 Beretta with one magazine. They're like, all right, cool. I'll kill somebody and take their no. You can't take their weapon. All right. How about I shoot somebody that's also carrying 9mm rounds, and I use those 9mm rounds to refill my Nope, can't have that. You're only allowed to have 15 rounds. I'm like, fuck you. I don't want to play this game. Tiberium? Oh, okay, that's the material. Yeah. What's the movie or show or game that has unobtainium? That's one of those things that said, man, I get in my time machine and go do this, but I'm all out of unobtainium. Sounds like it's a Transformers movie or some shit like that. Unobtainium. By default means you can't get it. By its very name. Yeah, I don't mind, Did you ever play, what was that game that you had all the team members? Rainbow Six. And you had to pre-plan everything, and then you hit play, and everything that you pre-planned, they all had to, like, yeah, that's not my kind of game. That's not my kind of game. Now, there was a World War II game that I don't think they came out with it for the computer. They may have. That was pretty cool. That was called, shit. I got it in my, I got it here, I believe. This, I think, is a sequel. It's probably dated by today's standards. Well, probably dated. It is dated by today's standards. Oh, it's actually a Ubisoft game. This game. This is the sequel. Brothers in Arms Hell's Highway. The first one was something about Hill 30. Well, you end up playing a guy in first-person shooter. And, yeah, this is for the 360. Here, let me show you a screenshot of it. I think it's a pretty innovative game. Because you can command other guys. Matthew Baker. There's an original name. Boring. Okay, so you got like a Screenshot. Okay, so you played it. You know, really? That's what we're gonna go with. You motherfucker. You bet barrel motherfucker. Excuse me while I throw my phone across the room. Anyhow, it was pretty innovative in that, you know, you could tell, hey, go over here. You could like point to an area and like they kind of went where you could kind of put them in different places. And this bent. Fucking asshole phone stand. It's so unbalanced. And it's the best one I have, actually. It's because I can't, shooting in vertical, it's got to be like this. It's all out of balance. It's naturally unstable. There we go. Yeah, I finished those games. It was pretty decent. When was this? 2008? Just the other day. My daughter says, hey, when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, don't play without me. Because she wants a good laugh. I don't love those kind of games. They're just probably really funny. Does that mean it's time to shut off? We're having a bunch of klutzy fucking things happen. Klutzy fuckery. Yeah, I remember, what was the one? Full Spectrum Warrior. Remember Full Spectrum Warrior? That was kind of unique that way, too. All right. Where the hell were we? What are these things called? Not puttees. Puttees are the wraps. These are the gaiters. Gaiters. Yeah, like just give freaking people boots that are the right size. Not having to put these coverings. I wonder how many people in World War II had a mishap wearing gaiters. Thought the Full Spectrum Warrior was clunky versus Brothers in Arms. Yeah, it was definitely clunky. Yeah, and the soldiers would cuss. I remember the first time I heard one of them say, hey, dickweed. Oh, man, I lost it. No. That's not what it was. You may have called somebody a dickweed. He called somebody a penis wrinkle. Oh, my God, that was hilarious. Yeah, it was clunky. But I was able to finish it. Okay, so if you played Full Spectrum Warrior, there was a game that came out that was pretty freaking cool. And I had it for the original Xbox called Gladius. And it was this gladiatorial management turn-based combat game that had, it was in a fantasy world, but it was definitely Roman inspired. You'd go to different arenas and you build up your team, and then when you fought, you know, different guys had different teams, and you could get different weapons and stuff for them to enhance their abilities, and the board was cool. It was like a, you know, you could like plan your moves, and it was pretty neat. Gladius. Never finished. It's pretty complicated. I'm trying to work my way through what's the one that came out last year? Classified 1944. I've been playing that a little bit. I never got very far with it. I never finished the campaign. I never made it to the Normandy invasion, but yeah, I know. Like for instance, that these things lace on the outside, and I think they lace on the outside. The little coverings. All right, and he's got brown boots on, and that's it. You played the demo of Gladius. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good game, and you could play it multiplayer. You just hand off, like decide who's going to play which guys, and then just hand off. I like playing cooperative games. You know, you don't have to be like, every game doesn't have to be fuck your buddy. You know, it can be like, and your buddy can be like your friend sometimes. That game got really hard. Damn you, werewolf fur, you're too wet. The only problem with some of those games, like doing this, time flies by way too fast. You'll be like, oh man, where'd the 3 hours go? I still have my original Xbox. No point in getting rid of it. They wouldn't give you anything for it. Galo. Great game, stupid plot. Now, the game I am a big fan of, and it's a stupid plot, is oh man, and is also hilarious, is Borderlands. Borderlands is Borderlands is hilarious. Borderlands is hilarious. And it's funny because the reason I like Borderlands is because it has a lot of the inspiration of Diablo and stuff like that. It has a search, it's a treasure hunt. And the item drop, it's got item drop color codes, just like Diablo does. Like, oh, that's a green item. We don't need any more of those. Those aren't very good. Those are great games. So I don't do a whole lot of video gaming. There's some things that I would automatically get when they come out. The State of Decay, the next State of Decay when they come out, get that. The next Borderlands, get that. Grand Theft Auto 6, get that. Other than that, I don't get excited about console stuff. It's like, okay, you know. Man, this is some watery ass paint. I didn't enjoy the Western one, the second Western one that much. I had high hopes for it, and the first one was better. Well, I guess technically the second one, Red Dead Redemption, because the first one was Red Dead whatever, Revolver. I never played that one, but Red Dead Redemption, I played that a lot. I like playing multiplayer. You can get like this little bandito Mexican little round Genghis Khan looking Mongol looking dude. I like playing him. Multiplayer and just be a nuisance. Paco the dickhead. Órale, chingón. The second one didn't have that. Didn't have you could play a guy that looked like that. I'm like, man, I like playing that little dude. Little round butterball looking guy. Hey, look like a fat little Genghis Khan. He's like a Genghis Khan meatball. With a big sombrero. The second one just wasn't the same. I mean, I still played it quite a bit. Like, I haven't played it anymore. Okay, that's fine. I still played it for like 80 hours or probably even more than that. So you get right down to it, it's like, man, you bought that game and you don't play it anymore? I said, yeah, well, how much did I pay to play it? I played it like, 25 cents an hour, kind of, whatever. Like, I got my money's worth. Well, you didn't solve it. Yeah, well, I also didn't get tortured by it either. I don't have to get 100% completion on something to be able to sleep at night. Like, I bought the game. I can play it however the hell I want to. I'm not Activision's bitch or whoever. Yeah, the Borderland games are run really smooth. Really smooth. I missed a pooch. The aiming on him is really smooth. Uh-oh. What's held for review? Well, if you put it down, I want to see it. Potential appropriate messages. No, I want to see the message. I don't know what EA did. Oh, do they? I don't know. Well, it must be like a new whatever. I like that World at War. I can't keep track of who's what. Well, they all woke and shit? Probably. Woke ass game. Yeah. EA Games screwed up several franchises by making them crap like Command and Conquer, then the woke crap. But that's more like Ubisoft or Ubislop. Ubisoft was good, and then the woke stuff doesn't bother me that much because it's not like they're going to convert me. I mean, it's a bit late for that. You would have had to get a hold of me before the 1980s. Once the 1980s roll around, I'm basically untouchable. They're not going to be able to convert me. I liked whatchamacallit quite a bit. What's the one that's the COVID game? The Division. Except it just got too hard. It's like these massive bullet sponges. It's like I don't like boss fights. Like I don't mind things being challenging, but I don't like this. You gotta fight this one guy. It's huge, and you have to fight him a certain way, and you're gonna die like 9 times, and you don't have to save, and then you have to replay this whole thing. I'm like, sorry, I'm not your bitch. Like I don't mind things being challenging, but I don't want something like banging your head into the fucking wall. Like, man, I want it to be difficult. I say, well, how about you go get a job and get out of your mom's basement? That's what it is. Like, man, I want the game to be challenging. What, like, put it on a pair of fucking pants? Like, some of us have to deal with crap all day long. We don't need to have to deal all with crap when you get home, too. Like, I generally don't play a game for the first time on the easy level. I play it at normal. And if it gets to be too torturous, yeah, I'll dial it down because I'd like to see the end of it. I mean, I did buy the fucking game. And not really interested in cheating or getting cheat codes or anything like that. I don't want to be punished. We'll make you sorry for buying this game. You know what Ubisoft game I absolutely hated? Rainbow Six Siege. I hated that fucking game. With those little go-karts. Those little go-karts that would explode. I hated that game. There's a couple games that I've gotten that are like, I would have been better off not getting them because I didn't get my value out of them, and that's one of them. Hated Rainbow Six Siege. Okay, I think this guy will do, whatever his name is. I think we're going to make him some red-faced Mick. Kids these days will say that it is a skill issue. Whatever. How about get a job, nerd burglar? That's what you tell them. Yeah, I don't want to hear about skills for people that don't paint shit. Go fly a kite up your ass sideways. What game is? Oh, that freaking game. Oh man, the freaking game that Ben recommended to me. It's not his fault. Might play it on the computer. That's what the difference is. But the no, we don't need this color. We need this other one. Kingdom Come Deliverance. I've yet to open up a freaking chest. I'm telling you, I'm an experienced gamer. I mean, I'm not the best person out there, but I should be able to open the easiest freaking chest. Nope. And because I'm playing on a console, supposedly you look it up. Oh, the controllers are broken, and yet I've yet opened it. It's like playing Assassin's Creed and not being able to open a single chest. It's like, well, that's no fun. You know. And there's so many things that make that game harder than so many games I've ever played in my life. It's such a hard game. I mean, I think it's easier to sword fight in real life than in that game. In real life, they just kill you, and then you wouldn't have to learn how to get better. My dad said it best. You talk a lot of shit for someone who can't pull start a lawnmower. To my nephew when he said boomer games are too simple. Yep. Or people that can't drive a stick shift. Yep. Boomer games. All right. Have fun living alone. Oh, that's right. You can't afford to. Oh man. What was I? Oh yeah. This helmet strap. They got to work in some Google office playing with her yo-yo, sitting on a beanbag chair playing with her yo-yo. The useless generation. Well, I think that's what it was. Is he has like a, almost like a balaclava. almost something like that. And he just made it look like his kid jowls. It's hard to figure out what some of these guys have equipment wise. Even with my contacts on, I'm like, man, where does this guy's strap begin and where does it end? All right, this is what we're going to end with this dude. Let's see if we can get a closer shot of him. This Americano. Come on. Come on. Let's get the light in the right place. There we go. Come on. He'll look better when he's got some sealant on him. Yeah, he looks pretty decent. He looks pretty decent. You can make the American guys look pretty cool. You can't paint them green and say, hey, have a nice day. You got to put some thought into it, Just like Sherman's, you can't just paint the damn thing green and go, oh, it's not personality, Yeah, and these guys aren't bad either. This guy with a rifle grenade's a little bit of looks more like a lollipop than a rifle grenade. Guy with a BAR. I'm gonna paint this squad. Well, we're almost halfway done with them, and then this guy's Marcus's favorite guy here, the yoga sniper. If I sat like that, I wouldn't be able to get up, and I'm just a gamer medium size, sitting on the floor. I remember we'd play games on the floor. Fuck that, I wouldn't do that now. Not worth it. That tailbone would be like, that wasn't worth it. So yeah, BAR gunner, rifle grenade guy, another guy with a Garand, the guy with a Springfield, which fell on the ground, who's a sniper. Who's this guy? Another Tommy gun guy. And the offizier here with, he's got a Tommy gun slung back here on the radio. And he's got a 1911 somewhere. You're already low to the ground. Yeah, you're like a Japanese sniper. The Japanese were taught to fire in a kneeling position, in a crouching position. So, where'd that little red bastard go? There he is. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.